Hello everyone, today's video is going to be a long awaited video and it is going to be ranking, and I'm ranking every single palette in my collection based not off preferences, not off color story, all this other stuff, based off how often I use them. I have been tracking my makeup usage, or my eyeshadow palette usage, mind you, since 2022, and I've been doing this because Kirsten from Kirsten's Makeup Vanity, if she has a playlist or ranking her entire collection based off usage, I will leave that link down below. Also, Sarah Rose did this, I think last year, because she saw me do it on Instagram, so I will also leave Sarah Rose down below because I believe she may be doing this again this year. I'm not too sure. This year was a little different because I did No Pan Left Behind, and you're going to see the palettes that have the most usage are the ones that are bigger, simply because it took more uses to finish my No Pan Left Behind. I am not doing No Pan Left Behind this upcoming year, or this current year of 2025, because I feel like No Pan Left Behind is not giving the love to my palettes I think they deserve, because I am focusing on the bigger palettes and less on anything smaller, and let's face it, I prefer a slightly smaller palette. Whatever, what have you. So that's going to be a common theme, and that is going to be a little caveat that I want to showcase with you guys, that just because I use this palette 10 times does not mean it is my favorite palette by any means. It simply is because it's a big palette and it needed to be used 10 times to either reach its goal. I am going to get started because there is going to be a lot of palettes in this video and I want to get through them as quickly as humanly possible. I am also going to go through all the declutters. I decluttered 6 different palettes this year, so the ones I don't have, I will put a picture up here. I have a total of 6 palettes that I didn't use a single time in 2024, 2 of which are physical and I have them with me. These physical ones are ones I got for Christmas, and I did not get the ability to use them in the last 5 days of the year. So that's what these are here for. The 4 palettes that I got 0 uses out of that I have decluttered is my e.l.f. New Classics and my Makeup Revolution Showstopper palette. Both of those went to a coworker of mine. Profusion Starlit just got old and quality was performing not so great, so I threw that in the trash. And Pure Festival was ancient and I threw that one in the trash as well. So 2 went on to a better home and 2 got trashed. It is what it is, but I used them 0 times. And then these 2 palettes I did get for Christmas but did not get to use in the year 2024. And I have the Cosmic Brushes Serenity palette. I have since used this now, but it is stunning. I love this palette. And then I have the Ghost Town USA palette. You obviously know I've used this one because I just did a IG inspiration, but this is a beautiful, beautiful palette. So these 2 weren't used at all in 2024. They'll definitely get a lot of use in 2025. I have 7 palettes that only got used once in 2024, one of which was decluttered, and that was my ABH Alyssa Edwards palette. I just was not vibing with the quality of it, and I got it at TJ Maxx. I didn't find anybody that would want to purchase it or, get it for free from me, so I have since decluttered that long ago, and the rest of these palettes only have 1 use. All of these palettes are small except for the ColourPop Bratz palette. I got this one for Christmas, so I used it once in the last 5 days of the year. I have since used it a little bit more. Can't wait to use this one some more. It is stunning. The other palettes are smaller. If it was any other type of year, some of these would have gotten a lot more than 1 use, but my Fenty Duo, it's the Kilowatt Foil Duo. It is a blue and a like a brownish tone. It's technically a highlighter, but I use them as eyeshadow. We have the Natasha Denona Baby Retro palette. This is beautiful in the fall time. Only got 1 use. Hard Candy Envy Quad. I used all 4 shades in 1 look, but I also got this for Christmas, so it really didn't have much of a chance to get more. And then 2 of my 3 Essence palettes. So I have Nothing Compares to Nude, really pretty, simple everyday. And then I have the Taupe It Up which to me, I can use every single shade in a one look and be done. So all these palettes only got one use, and I'm accounting that because they are so small that it only took like one use to use every single shade, and then this one was a new palette. I have two palettes that got two uses. So I have my little Kaja Bento Trio. And if you haven't noticed already, anything a duo or larger counts as an eyeshadow palette in my collection. So this one is in Smolder season. So we have this nice champagne glittery shade. This one has a chip in it from a nail or something, but we have a nice shimmery brown, and then we have a simple brown matte. And then I also have my Essence Coral Me Maybe. I got used twice, and I think it's because I took this like on an overnight trip. I think that's why it's got more than one use. In total, I have 19 different palettes that I have used 3 times. 3 and 4 are the most used number-wise. Like I have the biggest in those categories, 3 and 4. One of these got decluttered, in which will be the last declutter that I'm going to share with you guys. It is the 18 Hit Wonders palette from e.l.f. It was getting older. I was primarily only keeping it because my friend in real life bought it for me at a time where I did not have colorful eyeshadow. I now have plenty of colorful eyeshadow, so I do not find that there is a need for that in my collection. I was not reaching for it, and I decluttered it a couple months ago when I realized it wasn't going to get used and I wanted to hit my no pin left behind goals, so I got rid of it. All of these palettes I used 3 times. So we have my ABH Sugar palette. I love this palette. It is so freaking pretty. I have all 3 of the ColourPop 9 pans that came in my mystery box. So we have Wild Child. I'm not going to open all of these up. We got to get through these. The Wine and Only, and then the Blow and Smoke. I personally keep them in the boxes because I want the packaging to stay in its entirety for as long as humanly possible. I also have my 2 like gemstone-y palettes from ColourPop. I'm surprised both of these got the same amount of use. Granted, I did fall in love with gray eyeshadow this year, so we have Of Quartz, which is grays and taupes, and then we have All Amethyst, which are purples, and obviously I love purple. Nice palette. We have 3 of my Fantasy Cosmetica palettes. I love Fantasy Cosmetica, you guys know that. So we have the Wizard, which is super pretty. Then we have Sorcerer, which I have 2 pans in. I love pink eyeshadow, can you tell? And then the last one is Druid that I used 3 times. I also have the Tartelette Juicy. This is a shame because this is one of my favorite palettes in my entire collection, and it only got used 3 times. Are you kidding me? Beautiful. This one I've been thinking of decluttering. It's my Urban Decay Naked Reloaded. I've been thinking about decluttering both of my Naked palettes, but I have quite a bit of use on this Naked palette, so I want to get more use out of it, see if I can pan some of these shades. This is an old one, the Norvina. Like, look how kind of gross it is. With a lot of my palettes, because of the No Pin Left Behind challenge, and I do have like 70 some palettes, a lot of these, once I hit my No Pin Left Behind, I didn't touch again, which is a shame, but it is what it is. And that's why I'm not doing that challenge next year. So we have the Wander Wanderous Escape, perfect summer palette. I'm sorry, you can see like my my box light in the mirrors. We have the Lethal, I think this is the Night Flower one. Either way, super pretty pinks, purples, more cooler toned. We have both of my Moira palettes. So we have Magic Dreaming, and then I have Fun Is in the Air. I did a 3 looks 1 palette video, so all 3 of the looks you see in that video were done with this palette. The last palette that got used 3 times is the Cosmic Brushes 'Tis the Season palette. I did a 3 looks 1 palette with this recently. Got it for Christmas, which is why some of these other Christmas palettes did not get used, but I really wanted to get that video out. So all those got 3 uses. Again, those were 19 palettes. My next biggest stack is 4 uses, and I believe that's 17 different eyeshadow palettes. Again, this disappoints me because some of these are my all-time favorite palettes, like my Huda Nude Light. Can't believe I only used this 4 times last year. That needs to change ASAP. And then we have the What's Up Beauty Geos. Again, a favorite palette of mine. Can't believe it only got used 4 times. We have 2, and I think this is my last 2 Fantasy Cosmetica palettes. So we have the Rogue, which are cool tones, pinks, purples, and greens. And then we have Bard, and it's like the most perfect fall color story on planet Earth. Here's my other Naked palette, Robin Eisenberg palette. I really only bought it for packaging, and it was a struggle to use all the shades, but that's why it's here, 4 uses. Then we have 2 of my 3 collab palettes for Odin's Eye. So we have Flora Story, really, really pretty purples and greens. And then we have Planet Spirit, which this one is so colorful and so stunningly beautiful. We have a small stack of ColourPop palettes that got used 4 times. So these ones are the slightly bigger ones. So we have the ColourPop Alice in Wonderland, Lost in Wonderland palette. This one is so cute. I really like this one. Need to use that more. This one was like a lost favorite discovery. Off Melrose, got it in that mystery box. Love this palette so much. Gonna get a lot more use next year. We have Cabana Club, which is Summer in a palette. I think I did a palette bingo with this. I think I did. And then we have Garden Variety, which was my first ColourPop love, and I really should get a lot more than 4 uses out of that. I have my little Ghost palette. I did a 3 looks video, and I also did a collab Throwback Thursday with this. Love the color story, but the formula is garbage. We have 2 of my Weekend Vibes BH palettes. So we have the BH Mimosa. This is a pink lover's dream. It is stunning. And we also have Avocado Toast, which I love these green colors. Unfortunately, my Huda Mercury Retrograde only got 4 uses. This is a shame. This is really reflective, but it is beautiful. It used to be like a favorite palette. Tiny Marvels from Sydney Grace. Already has gotten some good use this year. I'm proud to see it. And then the last palette that got used 4 times is the Eloise the Queen palette. Now this one, I have thought about decluttering, but it's still here, so it's still here in my collection. Those were all the palettes that I used 4 times. I have 8 palettes that I have used 5 times. So we have my BH 1991. I did this for my 1 week prompt in a deck of panning. I have 2 Odin's Eye palettes. So we have my Odin's Eye Angelica Nyqvist Gila palette. I love these greenish tones. You'll see a couple more of those. We have the Alva palette, which is a love of mine. You guys know I love pink eyeshadow. We have Lorac Fairy Tale Forest, which this used to be a top runner. And my cat and my dog's in here now. We'll see how that goes. But my Lorac Fairy Tale Forest used to be a top contender. I used it for my No Pin Left Behind and left it hang. So 5 uses. Yeah, we're at 5 uses. We have the Fab Cosmetics. This one, yeah, he's not too happy I'm in his chair. I say his chair because he sits in it way more than I do. But we have just warm tones. I've also thought about decluttering that one. We have Rose Quartz, another one of my all-time favorite. You guys know how much I love pinks and neutrals. This one ticks all my boxes. We have Simply Posh Coastal. Shiloh is sniffing him, which is why he's meowing so much. I love this palette. Their new, Simply Posh's new palette is also beautifully stunning, but I'm refraining. But I love this one, not only just for summer, but for like any other time. And then my Sydney Grace number 2. I have since reorganized these, so I'm not gonna open it, but these were the singles that I have gotten in my most recent mystery bags. I figured you'd want to see at least one of the pets, so here's Shiloh. I'm covering up his tags, but here he is. You guys saw Jasper in my inventory video. There's Shiloh. And we're also kitten sitting, which I did put a thing for a Q&A in my community tab. So if you have any questions for me for my 1-year Q&A video, community tab, you can put it in the comments here. I used to have a thing on Instagram, that's long gone now. 6 uses is next. So we have, trying to read my handwriting, 5 palettes that got 6 uses. We have Odin's Eye Sea Talk. This I think is my favorite out of the 3 of them. We have the Too Faced Italian Spritz. This one was a favorite. Really enjoyed that one. Then we have the Menagerie Feral palette. I've been really liking this Menagerie formula. These do not mess around, but I really enjoy the color story. They're more muted, but these are so pigmented. You like need next to nothing in terms on your brush. We have BH Blueberry Muffin palette. This one is so pretty for the winter time. Stunning. And then the last palette that got used 6 times is my Profusion Ethereal. And I really am hoping to hit some more pans in here. I only have 2 currently, but this one is on my I need to use it a lot more in 2025 list. We have 8 palettes that got used 7 times. So we have Natasha Donut My Dream, which I love this palette. Got it for my birthday. I've definitely used this a lot more than No Pan Left Behind. And then I also have my Natasha Denona Yucca palette, and I love and adore this color story in this palette. I need to use it some more. We have Nomad Tokyo Harajuku palette. I really enjoy this palette. Super pretty for springtime. I can't wait to bring this out again. I want to do more videos with this, so if you do have it, bring it out. Another pastel beauty. This is the Juvia's Garden of Juvia's. I love and adore this palette. These shimmers are no freaking joke. The mattes are good too, but the shimmers are stunning. Tarte Reflections is very reflective. This is a big palette. Again, my tones, neutrals, pinks and purples. Just what I like to see. We have the Glamlight Barbie palette. I love this palette too. We got blues, pinks, purples, a little bit of neutrals. These are so bright, so intense. My phone is vibrating. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful palette. The shimmers are stunning. The mattes blend like a dream. We have Blend Bunny the Dollhouse. I've used this outside of No Pan Left Behind a couple times. Really nice, neutral, more on the cooler toned eyeshadow palette. Really glad I got this, and unfortunately this one is getting discontinued. And then the palette that I'm wearing today is my Juvia's Place Culture palette. I'm using this palette today, so we're using this pink in the crease, this purple also in the crease, outer corner, this purple all over the lid, and then I use this green shade on the inner corner, which is giving that brightness. But Juvia's Place Culture is the last palette that I used 7 times. I have 3 palettes that I used 8 times. This is the Urban Decay Stone Vibes. This is one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes. This has been a top contender for the last couple years, and regardless of my No Pan Left Behind, this one still gets a lot of use for it being a smaller palette. But this is beautiful, and I have this in my current project pan, my deck of panning. I have my Michaela palette. I just really love the color story, which is why I have it, and I cannot wait to get a lot more use out of this. And this was my #1 palette that I got in 2023. I still need to film and rank my 2025 palette ranking. I don't know what I'm gonna do for that one yet. And then this is like my first Sydney Gray singles palette. Again, I have rearranged these and I hope to do a video soon about that. So I'm not gonna show you the inside, but I have shown you the inside of this palette countless times. And I also believe it was also in my eyeshadow palette collection video, and I'll leave that video linked down below. So I'm not gonna open this palette. 3 palettes I used 8 times. Only one palette got used 9 times, and this one also has been a contender for a couple years. This is my NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. It's gotten so much use, A, because it's big and I needed to use all the shades for my panning goal, but I have also used it a little bit outside of the panning goals. I have said this multiple times before, if I could only keep one and only one eyeshadow palette in my collection, this would be it. You have a good range of colors, and you also have a good range of formula as well, and I really love this palette, and this one is definitely going to get a lot more use in 2025. My most used palette was 10 times, and I want to say my other years of tracking this, I have gotten to 14 uses to 19 uses, so I feel like my eyeshadow palette collection truly did not get the amount of love that I think it deserved because of doing the No Pin Left Behind, and my dog just sneezed as well. This year, a lot of these palettes got 3 to 4 uses. In previous years, a lot of my majority of my palettes got like 5, 6, 7. I really don't think the No Pin Left Behind worked for me. If it works for you, that's fantastic. Unfortunately, one of my 2 top palettes is my Morphe No Silent Nights palette. This one is huge. It was a struggle for me to use every single shade. It's a fine palette, it's a nice palette. There's just other palettes that I prefer more, and like I don't hate this palette, but to me it's sad that it has gotten 10 uses where some of my other ones that I love so much more got so much less use. The last and final palette that got 10 uses is very fortunately a palette that I love and adore, and it has shown a lot of love this year. I got it this year. It is my Diverun Gloomy Gardens palette. I love and adore this palette. I bought this with my own money. Monica does not know who I am. This is the color story. I have used this No Pin Left Behind a couple times over. I love and adore this palette. I don't know why my dog is barking. The mattes are stunning, the shimmers are stunning. You guys can take these out and they are named on the back as well. So if you guys want to do your rearranging, I personally don't do that, but I know a lot of you guys do. Colors are beautiful. I love the color story. The packaging, I love the packaging. Diverun should do more like this. It just makes me so happy that this got the #1 spot. Granted, it's shared with Morphe, but I'll get over it. No Pin Left Behind personally did not work for me. I feel like this is not a good representation on what I naturally would reach for in my collection. And in a year from now, I will do another video ranking every single eyeshadow in my collection. If you guys want to see monthly updates on these, plus the looks that I do a palette roundup video every single month, and I will leave my palette roundup playlist down below. I love and appreciate all of you guys. If you guys love colorful eyeshadow palettes in general, indie brands, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys next time.